Alright, so the first tool we're going to use for doing envelopes is the envelope punch board. This is from We Are Memory Keepers. We are going to make this style envelope here, and the cool thing about this tool is it tells you exactly the size of cardstock and where your first score line is. So we have a 4x6 card, so our cardstock needs to be 8 1/4 by 8 1/4, and then we'll use that measurement when we get to that part. So I'm going to cut my cardstock down to 8 1/4 by 8 1/4, and now we're ready to go. So right on the tool here, it tells you that the first score line needs to be at 3 3/8. There's measurements right at the top here, so you don't necessarily need to get a different tool to measure that. So we're putting our cardstock right at the 3 3/8. Oh, I should get my scoring tool out. So 3 3/8. I typically punch it first and then I score, so I'm going to start at the bottom here just because I can't really see where the score channel is there. That is the only one we need to actually measure. So now we're going to take this here and we're just going to line it up with our score line. I'm going to punch it and I'm going to score. And I do that all the way around. And I just realized I didn't punch it first to this one. It doesn't really matter whether you punch it first and then score. It works either way. So this last one, I like to make sure that it is lined up with that little flap right there. The other cool thing about this tool is to round these edges. There is a corner rounder punch included right there. So our envelope is pretty much scored. We just need to fold over all of those edges and score it to really get nice, clean, crisp score lines. And once that's done, then I'm going to glue my pieces together. Now I typically put this flap in first and then I glue that. You could use liquid glue here. It's just going to take a couple seconds for it to dry. I'm just going to use a tape just for speed. So I'm just going to put some tape on that short flap there and one right there. Take the backing off. Take that backing off. There we go, our envelope is made. We can put our card right in there. In order to glue it, I would put some adhesive here after your card is in there, and you can glue that to seal your envelope. The other thing you could do is you could use printed papers to match the inside, or to match the printed papers on your card if you want, or you could add a little extra flap in here that's printed just to customize it even more. But this is great for cards that aren't necessarily standard size. The one thing to keep in mind though when you're making your own envelopes, when you buy a sheet of paper, it's probably more expensive than buying envelopes. So I typically only do this if the card I'm making is not a standard size card that I can just buy an envelope for, because then it would end up being cheaper just to buy a completed envelope. Or if it's for a special person that you really want to customize an envelope for. But there's our first card. I'll see you in the next one where we'll make our next one.